Okay, so one thing that always bothered me about Hanukkah is that when you talk about the nace of Hanukkah, who actually saw it? Who actually saw that the candles lasted for 8 days? You guys all know that the menorah was situated in the Heichal. It was inside the Beis HaMikdash itself, where no Zorim were allowed, and only Kohanim who were completely Tahor were allowed to go in there. So I don't know exactly how many Kohanim went into the Heichal on a daily basis, but I'm guessing it wasn't that many. So the question is, who actually saw the mitzvah, the Ner Chanukah last for 8 days? I feel like we just won a major military victory, and maybe a couple of Kohanim wanted to, boost morale. So they decided to announce, oh, good news, guys, there was a miracle that happened in the Beis HaMikdash that day, and the candles lasted for 8 days. If I would have been there at the time, I would have said, says who? You and one other guy decided to make up a story, and you came to us and said, we saw the oil last for 8 days. It was really only supposed to last for 1 day. Nobody knows about them looking for the oil and only finding one jar of oil. Nobody knows that they used it to light the candles. Nobody knows anything about the nace of Hanukkah. So it's very strange that we so celebrate this nace, which in fact may not have been witnessed by very many people at all. So perhaps one way to approach the situation is based on the sheet of the Chasam Sofer. The Chasam Sofer quotes, there's a machlokes rishonim, it really dates back into the Gemara, about whether or not lighting the menorah constitutes an avoda. And the main nafkamina for whether or not lighting the menorah is one of the avodas is, can a zor do it? Can a non-Kohen light the menorah? And the Rambam and the Ravid both paskin that a non-Kohen is allowed to light the menorah. The question is, where can the menorah be in order for the non-Kohen to light it? So some achronim suggest that the only way a non-Kohen could ever light the menorah is if you made this really, really long fuse and you had it go outside the area where Yisraelim are allowed to go, and where only Kohanim are allowed to go, and they would have to light the menorah from the courtyard of the Beis HaMikdash, but not even the entire courtyard, because what they had was an Ezras Nashim, where men and women were allowed to go. Then they had the Ezras Yisrael, where non-Kohanim were allowed to go, male non-Kohanim were allowed to go. And then they had the Ezras Kohanim, where only the Kohanim bringing the Karbanos were allowed to go. So you'd have to extend the fuse all the way out into the Ezras Yisrael. And when they would light the fuse, and that would somehow travel inside the Beis HaMikdash, like something out of a Roadrunner cartoon. And it would be very strange that that's really the way a non-Kohen would light the menorah. The Rambam suggests no. The Rambam says once the menorah was set up inside the Heichal, was set up in the Beis HaMikdash, it was mutter to then remove the menorah, bring it out into the courtyard, and we were allowed to light the menorah in the courtyard by Yisrael, in the place where Yisraelim were allowed to go. And he suggests that that's perhaps what happened in the time of Hanukkah. They wanted to light the menorah. They found the Pach HaShemen, but they wanted everyone in Klal Yisrael to see the relighting of the menorah for the first time. So the Kohanim, the Chashmonaim, set up the menorah inside the Heichal, but then they brought it out. They brought it outside, and they had it lit. I don't know that they had a Zar light the menorah, but according to the Rambam, it's permissible for a non-Kohen to light the menorah in the Ezras Yisrael. You can, as long as it's in the vicinity of the Heichal, it's in the area around the Beis HaMikdash, it's mutter to light the menorah in front of everybody. And that's in fact what they did. They brought the menorah out. I assume they had a Kohen light the menorah, but still it was done in the courtyard in front of everyone so that everyone was able to witness the nace of Hanukkah. It wasn't something that happened behind closed doors. It was in fact something that happened in front of everybody. And says the Chasam Sofer, that's why we say in the Alanisim, they came into the Dvir. What's the Dvir? The Dvir is the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Ufinu es Heichalecha, and they emptied out the Heichal. That's what we call the Kodesh. That's the area where the menorah was. They emptied out the Tiarus Mikdashecha, and they purified the Mikdash. The Hidliku Neiros, where they light the candles, the Chatzros Kodshecha, in the Chatzer. It says specifically in the Alanisim, they lit the Neros bechatzros kodshecha. It shouldn't say they lit the Neros bechatzros kodshecha. It should say v'hidliku Neros beheichalecha. You lit the Neros in the Heichal. However, the fact remains that they lit the Neros not in the Heichal for those 8 days. They lit the Neros bechatzros kodshecha. They lit in the Chatzer so that everyone could witness the miracle. And therefore we understand that the Nace of Hanukkah was something which was witnessed by all of the Jews and not something only seen by a few. Freilich Hanukkah.